Leadership has been defined and described in many different ways over the years, since it starts to be studied in the 1920s. One possible reason is that the definition of leadership is determined by the socio-historical moment in which it takes place. In the 1920s, we find the first definition of leaders. These early leaders whose will was to induce obedience, respect, loyalty, and cooperation to his subordinated. It can be seen as a very tight way of leadership. However, in the next decade, leadership was considered as a process to move everybody towards the specific direction proposed by the leader. Leaders were more like shepherds and subordinates the flock. By the early 40s, the leadership evolved to include a very important term, persuasion. Leaders were more persuasive. What they want was to persuade and direct subordinated beyond the classical structure of power, position, or circumstances. That means that the leader considered for the first time the subordinates. Although the persuasion was established in the 40s, in the following decade, the authority was present again. The leaders focuses on the direction of groups according to the level of authority. In the 60s, another change took place. The leader influenced others towards a common direction proposed by the organization. You can say in a similar way as a pilot leads a boat toward a destination given by the captain. The 70s and the 60s were times of great social change, and those leadership was influenced too. In the 70s, the influence of the leader was seen as discretionary and variable from one member to another, being more flexible in their way of interacting with the subordinated. The 80s was a time of inspiration. New technologies start to let people imagine a new world, and thus this inspiration came into the leadership. Leaders inspired others with the objective of carrying out a proposed action. In the 90s, leaders and subordinates were seen as the engine of those changes that reflect common purposes. This is very important because before, the objectives were always those the organization or the leaders. And finally, at the beginning of this century, leaders were given higher responsibility in the action of the organization. It is easy to see this in many, many companies, where the project manager figure start to get a central role in the everyday work. This evolution was common in the most of the industries. Even in this nuclear industry, we are talking and was influenced by these premises.